The Rant. Meet Christina and Eric. What grinds their gears? The experts in the fields of architectural design, pre-construction, construction management, fine cabinetry. The Rant, a podcast by One York Company.
We got it.
I think so.
Hit it. Hit it and quit it. Episode 10, The Rant. I didn't mean to start like that.
Hit it and quit it.
It sounds horrible.
Oh, God.
Was it? Yeah. It's funny how we say things we don't even know what they really mean.
Oh, I know what it means.
Well, I know what it means also, but it's like you just say the thing and then you're like, in retrospect, you're like, that was
take it
probably
back.
inappropriate. Like me saying that thing at the job site today about that guy who pulled up in the car and then I was like, he stole it. And I'm like, that's like, could be interpreted as like any kind of like, and I'm like, anyways, it wasn't intentional.
Open mouth, insert foot.
Yeah, fuck. Like this moment where I'm like,
Take it back, but I can't because everybody heard it.
yeah. It's one of those things where I'm like, well, if you know me, you
your
know.
mouth got ahead of your internal sensor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a loose cannon. Just say things.
But there's a difference between just saying things and being like, fuck, I didn't mean to say that, versus just saying it because you're like, I have no fucks to give about saying that.
No, I care. I just that it's unfortunate that I say things and then I put my foot in my mouth afterwards.
You know what? You'd be surprised at the vast majority of people who don't pick up on it. Like I do, and then I start laughing, and then you're like, and then.
It's amazing how like it's true though. The
But if
majority.
I didn't say anything, most people would be like, not even, just right over their fucking head.
Yeah, some people aren't really even listening at all.
Oh no, nobody listens.
No, listening is bad.
Listening is a skill that's lost. Active listening. I don't know when the last time anybody actually went through a conversation and actively listened or paid attention to how much time they think about the response they're going to give versus just listening to the words that are coming out of the other person's mouth and the context and all of those things because they're super fucking important.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen often enough. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's amazing how many people just wait to speak instead of listen.
And then just completely bastardize whatever was said because they just hear what they want to hear. Like they're taking away from it what was valuable to them in terms of being beneficial, but then completely tossing aside all the other context and content of the conversation. It's lovely. It's my favorite.
Well, it's our job. We're communicators. That's what we do. We translate. It's like that's essentially. Welcome to episode 10, by the way, of The Rant.
The Rant.
Yeah, we rant.
Where I'm going to learn Braille because English is failing me.
Wait a second. Is Braille coming
Braille,
in different languages?
Braille, sign language. Braille.
But
I'm going to learn Braille too.
But wait a second.
It's reading
I'm
with your
sorry.
fingers.
I know
Maybe
it- I
you'll
know-
absorb more if you're not actually fucking, you're
I
just
recognize
focused.
this. I'm going to say something I'm going to sound really stupid here. But is Braille come in different languages or is Braille Braille?
No, I think it comes in different languages.
So like there's like,
It's an alphabet, for Christ's sake.
yes,
It's
I
like
know,
reading.
but it's like, but there's like this Chinese characters that would be very hard to distinguish from. like, could you
imagine
how many?
trying to learn Mandarin and Braille? Oh, fuck.
I don't know, man. We gotta phone a friend because I really don't know the answer to this question.
I don't know. Now that you say that, like, I would assume it comes in different languages because it's like,
You
in
can
the
be, you can be
same way.
blind. You can be
Yeah.
wait a second. Is it deaf people? No, it's blind people. Blind. You can be blind from any nationality. So it's
Yeah,
like you can't just force them all to fucking learn English Braille. Oh,
you got one language,
no.
that's it.
Yeah. All you fucking blind people speak the same. Oh my god. This is fucking horrible. Okay,
It's true, though.
I just don't know the answer.
No. No.
It would be very complicated because imagine the subsets of people, like
But
all
then
the
it
different
makes
languages.
you think, like, sign language is just sign language. Like, you're not signing in different languages. The words
you?
just mean words, right? Like, it's, I guess for the shit
because-
you spell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know if you're spelling words, then you're fucked. But I don't know.
Is there Cantonese sign language?
I feel like sign language, like, it's not like, it's like no thank you. Like, it's not,
But I guess the
you're not
spelling,
spelling
would be
out the
different.
words. It's like, it's the word. So thank you. There's a thank you in
but if you
Mandarin.
have
There's a thank you in.
But if you have what do you even call our alphabet? the alphabet. I guess everyone just calls it something else.
Yes, it's just the alphabet. Fuck.
We did not take acid before this, I promise. But still, we're asking some pretty darn questions. I'd be shocked how many
Thursday.
people fucking know this.
Yeah. Raise a hand in the comments there if you have any sense of this, because
If you've been, for you visual listeners. The last line.
you
Yeah.
visual listeners, yeah.
Fuck, I don't know.
Those would be the people in Braille.
Fucking, especially because it's like, if you were blind, then you'd probably love podcasts, but they probably fucking hate us.
Oh my God. Yes, we came out of the gate, assholes, this morning.
We just lost all blind potential business.
I don't know if we've ever had a blind client, so I'm not really sure that what the implications of that are across the board.
I don't know. I just didn't see this one coming.
But
I'm gonna end that there. That's
I was
almost
like
a-
on site today when you were like, "Oh, is Wesley's our structural engineer? Is Wesley going to be bent out of shape about that?" I was like, "Is that a structural engineer joke?" You're like, "No, but that's a good
It
one."
will be now.
Oh fuck.
Shit. I just can't stop. I can't stop.
I want to drink the water, but I don't want to choke. You know. Oh God! Now that we've got all of our linguistics out of the way, what are we actually
I
talking
have no idea.
about?
Okay, so seriously though, what are we talking about?
Seriously though.
We started a new show called the Real Cost Rundown on Instagram and TikTok about breaking down the prices of houses and talking about the real cost. And then you and I had a conversation about how real estate agents generally aren't openly truthful as to, you know what, they just, not that they're lying, it's just that they don't have enough insight usually to give direction. Usually, this is broad strokes here, but like, I've been more than, you know what it is? Here's the thing. This
You're
is,
spreading false information because you're dumb.
okay, sure. That's one way of saying it. But here's the truth. We don't work with a lot of real estate agents. Why? Because real estate agents don't want.
Ethics?
Yes, I'm going to give you the opportunity to be truthful. They don't want our opinion because they don't want our opinion because it drives the cost of their potential sale. Or they may lose the chance to sell the house because if people knew what the real costs were all stacked up to buy and sell a house and renovate it and everything else included and really thought about how complicated it was, and then they'd be like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yes, Betty Lou, you know, your dream of having 4 children and a 5th story and your big backyard pool and a secondary suite for your parents just went out the window because...
My wife's name is not Betty Lou, it's Anne-Marie. Wow.
I suppose, yes. It was very descriptive of
Yeah. Drifted right into
Listen,
Anne-Marie.
her dream was 3 children, okay? I got that very clearly today.
Did you hear that argument downstairs just now?
I was standing right
Oh, yeah.
there with the baby.
This is why I have 2
Beside
copies
baby
in front
number
of me.
4. It's like, you wanted 4 children. She's like, no, you did.
Well, I say that she did because I wanted 2, she wanted 3, and I said I don't do odd numbers. And then so she won, and now we're having 4.
So it's a little bit of both.
No, it's all her.
Yes,
All right.
it was all her. She got that evolutionary gene where she can self-impregnate. It was
anybody-
all her.
If anybody could, it'd be her.
5 and 6 are on their way.
Don't say that. Not interested in this shit.
Could you imagine?
No, fucking no.
Where would you even put them?
In fucking the country, I'd have to get a farm. You know how much money I spend in Costco
Or a
every day,
baseball team.
every week?
I do, yes.
I know.
Actually, if anybody knows, it's me.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible. This is the fucking. I can't believe I'm getting a phone call. The ROM is calling me. They are very. I bought a ROM membership once, and then they
12 years ago.
yeah, and then they call me like every couple weeks looking for like donations and stuff.
It's incredible.
Yeah, we haven't yet touched on anything construction related.
Just weird phone calls. You want to talk about my weird phone call? Should we tell?
Oh yeah, sure. That's fucking weird. Let's do that.
If you're listening,
Oh,
mystery
yes.
person.
They would be listening.
Maybe they don't listen to the podcast.
They fucking do.
I got a very obscure phone call a few weeks ago from somebody on my work phone, which is not a very well-known number, to be honest. And
that's why they listen to this shit.
and then the voiceover. It wasn't the call was at 11:30 on a Saturday night. It wasn't that the context of it was, unsettling by any stretch. I would have to say it was the voiceover that they used to
The masking.
yeah, like to mask your voice.
It's like Scream,
yes.
except it wasn't that creepy one. It was the baby one.
It was like it wasn't like the creepy TikTok, the deep one, but it was the other one. Like it sounded almost like a clown. It's hard to anyway, they it was compliment, insult, which I suppose is an adequate ratio to keep somebody's ego down in
Sure.
check. I don't know.
It's like when you're like playing with like when you like first start liking girls in the schoolyard and you
yeah,
gotta like
you
hit them
push
to, like,
them.
Yeah. So maybe juvenile.
I like your hair. I like your laugh, but you walk like a dude. I was like, okay.
Sure, that's a weird way to.
I
What's a
just-
weird way to make me
I
feel
just
bad?
started laughing because I was like, what the okay. Like
Then they said they're gonna talk to you
Oh,
the
yeah.
next day and have lunch
I
with you.
know.
and
No,
then
they were
didn't.
going to reveal their identity at lunch, and then I was waited. Lunch came and went 2 weeks in a row. Nothing.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was both unsettling and entertaining at the same time. However, the real reason that I'm curious still is just like, how the fuck did you get that number?
I'm telling you, it's work related.
It's like
And I've been thinking about it. I'm like, I'm
It's
running
not-
down all the contractors and
who are the people that have my number? No clients really. There's two, and like I talk to them openly. Trades,
That's what I'm saying. Trades, man. It's one of those fuckers.
or it's a friend of a trade,
No.
or it's a like yeah, but like to be fair, any of the trades that have like expressed interest have just expressed interest. Like that's like asked and answered.
Ooh, that's a good point. Then it's probably somebody who
knows
knows
the
somebody
trade?
got shut down, and knows
Maybe.
the odds that like they're probably also gonna get shut down.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but like, don't be weird about it. Like, just ask. It's like 98% of the population would get shut down regardless. So it's
Yeah, it doesn't even make a difference. Like
it's
you could be
not-
fucking
Don't
like
take it personally.
Clark Kent and still get shut down.
Unless you're a Henry Cavill.
Unless you're
It's
that
no.
dude. Yeah.
It's a no for me.
Yeah, Christina has like this weird ability of like even good looking dudes. Like if I'm creeping over her shoulder and she's doing that thing with the app and like looking at all the people. With
It's called Bumble.
people shopping, and it's like I'm like that guy's fucking hot, and she goes, no, his eyes are,
His eyes are too far apart.
or like one higher than the other, or like something, and I'm like he's like
His top lip's too thin.
right, what the fuck, and I'm like this guy's like so much more attractive than I am in general.
Left
and it's-
nostril is slightly askew. I can't do it.
I don't even know how you would notice that.
His name is Kevin.
Yeah, then
We
we
can't.
do that. Sorry, Kevin. Sorry to all Kevins out there.
It's funny. That's an exclusion. That's a legitimate. You could be like phenomenal, but if you had a name like Gary,
Mm.
hard
Mm.
pass. You can't like. I just there's certain things that are prohibitive. And parents, if you've not named your children, think about their dating life as they progress into adulthood.
Yeah.
It'll have an
Oh my
impact.
God. I met a baby named Karen.
Shut the fuck up,
Fucking swear.
Karen. A
Karen.
baby named Karen.
Someone did it. Yeah.
No. My aunt's name was Karen.
That's fair. That's okay.
Yeah,
Because
but she was also like,
yeah, but that's okay because like that was before the Karen thing was a Karen thing.
yeah.
It's like you can't fucking name a kid Adolf after fucking 1950. That would be like bad news.
Yeah, bad news bears. No,
Yeah.
that's really shitty.
Really shitty.
You set your kid up for a life of failure.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then the open mockery will probably turn her into a Karen.
Easily. Yeah, for sure.
She'll just be a prick to everybody.
Like in grade 2. She's gonna show up with a bob haircut and fucking like those sandals that have like the 2 straps in the front and the 1 strap around the ankle
And socks to her knee.
that have no elastic in it. They just kind of flop. Right? And then like she's wearing 3 different shades of green. And they're all kind of like
Those are the shades of
pastel-y.
envy.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go, Karen. The Karen outfit. And then a visor. Got that visor, like the tennis visor.
Yeah, with some zinc across the nose.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh God, a
And then
poor
she's-
kid.
Yeah, fuck. We just painted a picture. And freckles. Throw some freckles on there.
Leave the freckles alone.
Yeah, but like bad freckles.
Yeah,
Okay.
bad freckles. Those kind.
We're 14 minutes into this episode. We got to talk about construction. Okay, so we did the real cost rundown, and then I've been doing that, which is nice. I really like the idea of putting people in the position where they can fucking make a better choice in buying their home, because too often do they get to us, and then I feel like I am, well, it was my moniker for a long time, was the creator and destroyer of dreams.
It's true.
If we're on Slack, like we can all put a little moniker next to our, name. And then it was like, someone was like the key master, and there was the gatekeeper, because we did a funny Ghostbusters reference. And then I was the creator and destroyer of dreams. Christina was the head bitch in charge, which is still the truth.
I think that's still what it is.
It should be. It's
People
appropriate.
tag it. They're like, at HBIC.
Dude, that's it.
What do you think about this vanity?
It's easier than Christina. Just throw it on her, and it's like, there you go, HBIC. Everyone, but it's funny because when you say it quickly, people are like, "Oh, what does that mean?" It's like, "Oh, it's like CIBC," and like they think it's like some kind of like.
HBIC. Who was it? Vernon and Kim asked what it meant. They're like, I remember distinctly sitting with them in pre-construction, and they're like, "What does that stand for?" I was like, "Head bitch in charge." They're like, "Ah." I started laughing.
Perfect.
Fitting.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, well, I'm glad that we're starting that process, because I want more people to get to us with a good sense of what the renovation costs are, because too often do they get to us and they're like, "Oh, I bought this house and I want to start renovations." And like someone said it was X amount, and then it's just not even fucking close. And then, we're in trouble in terms of we don't have any money to do the renovation at the outset, and it's just like broken hearts. I hate that shit.
It's honestly like, as much as I'm not a really big people person and I'm not overly concerned with feelings by and large, it sucks to always have say no to people, because it's like they don't understand what they did, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like you don't want to say no. You're not saying no to be mean, but like always having to be the bad guy. It sucks, because it's just like, that would be really cool if you had have purchased a property that would allow you to do that. But you didn't.
But it's not even that. It's the preamble of even to deciding if you're going to purchase a home or not, because you need to know what the overarching, like before you decide to throw a ball, like you have to understand like generally where it's going to land if you're going to go pick it up, right? If you don't know how hard or far you're going to throw it, and if you're just throwing it into the fucking chasm of life, you got to figure out like, am I going to go and get that, or is that just gone? Because it's like, am I throwing this out, or am I throwing to go pick it up? Right? It's like,
How deep is my ball going?
yeah. Oh, there you go.
Name of my sex tape.
How deep is your love? I don't know. I was listening to way too much EDM on my bike ride today.
Yeah, why are you busting out into song everywhere today?
Because I was listening to music on my bike ride today, not listening to an audiobook. Because the guy I'm listening on the audiobook is fucking so bad. Oh God, he's like from Minnesota or something, and I can't deal with the accent. And it's just like throwing down. Oh man, bad. Anyways, we're talking about renovation costs, and what I was saying was we are in that real cost rundown. We're showing people what the cost of a property to purchase is, then the maximum value if it was renovated, then walking them through like the property cost. So it would be like whatever or the real estate cost, like the cost to sell the home they're currently in, and the cost to own the house that we're going to renovate for them for that duration of time. Then it's the land transfer tax and all that other shit, and breaking down all those costs so they know how much they have before they're going to be underwater for renovation. And here's the truth: it's like you cannot buy a house in Toronto without being underwater. You just can't. You have to be like have some kind of perspective on the speculation of the market, and if it's going to go up.
If you're not going to do anything to it at all and just live in it.
No.
That would be it. But like, if you're trying to make
But
it your
even
own,
then, the thing is, it's like, I'll break that fallacy right away. You buy the house, right? Do you think that you could turn around on the same day and sell it for exactly what you got it for?
maybe more.
No, because the bidding
Here,
wars.
This is me pushing buttons.
Yeah, but no, because that's like the real market value. But if you look at, and this should be the approach of people buying houses. Like if I'm pouring over House Sigma shit.
It's like driving off the lot in a car, brand new car, instantly not worth as much.
Boom. And that's what buying a house is like. It's the same fucking thing. Because especially in like trendy neighborhoods, if you look at like Trinity Bellwoods area, you're paying out the nose no matter what, because you're just buying that shit. And like it's more expensive to buy there. Like there was a detached house that just sold for $825 on a like 25 by like 132 lot, like big house, $825,000. Like we just talked about this on the Real Cost Rundown.
Is it condemned?
No, it was not. It was actually quite nice. But like there are but the point is that like if you're going after particular neighborhoods, you're going to be paying a premium, but there should be a strategy to buying houses for people. Like you have to rely not on like you have to rely on like an objective checklist of like, these are the 10 things I need. I'm willing to accept anything that has 7 or 8, and then start making offers, because you can potentially buy a house for substantially less than what market value is. But you can also get emotionally attached to a home and then pay way more than it's worth.
Sounds like my dating life.
That's funny. I've been saying that like, you should get a fucking, what's it called? What's the thing called?
Matchmaker.
Matchmaker. I've been saying that 4 years now.
Yes.
4 years. We could even write that shit off as a business consulting thing.
At this point, it's with everybody's best interest
It's a
if we
headhunter.
get this right.
It's a headhunter. I will just, we can reframe that from taxes as like, this is a headhunting experience. Got to fucking CRA's gonna listen to my fucking podcast and then we're gonna get audited.
Oh, God. Anyway, you were
I was saying something, and then you
checklist, 80%.
I don't know.
70 to 80%.
I don't even know what's on the checklist for people, but it's like whatever your checklist is. The truth of the matter here is that when you buy a house, the real estate market in Toronto, like there are opportunities. Like prices, house prices are variable. There are so even within a neighborhood, it's amazing when I look at like what they actually sold for. There are some that sell hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking, and I recognize the whole fucking thing where real estate agents like are pricing low to create like a bidding war. And then as soon as it doesn't sell at that price, they put the price that they actually want to get and hope they actually get that shit. But like, if you really look at like the comparisons, like I had when I compared two houses today, one was on one was on 491 Manning and 75 Montrose. One was 2-story, one was 3-story. Both had laneway suite potential. The 3-story one and the 2-story one, despite being like 0.5 of a kilometer away, were both selling for 1.5. Obviously, the one that's a 3-story and you have an entire third floor is of more value. But like, I really want to see which one sells for more, because I don't know if that was a strategy by a real estate agent, making them sound like they're really, really smart, and that was some kind of strategy they put in place. But one of them's off because you don't price them at the same.
What
right?
was the aesthetic in both of them?
Both garbage. They were equally shitty.
Bullshit.
Yeah, they're both shit. They were both like all original, like you know, plaster and lath, asbestos lined ducts.
So
like,
maybe the third floor one though is priced the same because it's going to cost more to redo. Like it's the value of it to the buyer is like the value of it is the same because like yes, it's more space, but it's also more investment for me to bring it up to par to where that actually has true value to me.
Right, but that's an interesting point. It's like the goal of having it renovated is nearer because it's less magnitude, which is an interesting thing. I keep seeing that, but it's like, I think, it's interesting. It's hard to give an opinion on that because it's like, it really does come down to how everyone has their risk set up. So even that house that was A25, right? It is a fucking big house. Like it was 3 stories, 750 square feet per floor. Like it's a big home. And if you think about like what that would be at like $400 a square foot to renovate, which is like where like HGTV tells people that's kind of where they sit for an interior reno, like fucking HGTV, ruining everyone's lives. It's like fucking people watch ER and then start trying to help people. It's like fucking don't.
Or The Bachelor.
Yeah. It's
or
like,
The Bachelorette. Like that's not how it happens. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, where do we go here? No, I'm lost.
The perceived value or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's like $400 a square foot. Down you're like $900,000 to renovate this house you bought for, $825, but then you have another $200,000 and all these other associated fees with like selling a house and holding it for the period of time and then pre-construction and all that other shit. So you're in the hole by like $330,000. But like, is the real question is like, all things considered, that number crunching, is $2 million an appropriate price for a house on a big lot in the city of Toronto, like in Corso Italia, and is that too much? I don't know. But it's like, fuck, it's a lot of money to be shelling out, $900,000.
Yeah, but you know what? It is. It's completely predicated on emotional gratification. Because it's like if you're two families coming together and you've had to hurdle the divorces and you've had to hurdle this and like a blending of families and this is your dream home and blah, like what you're attaching to that has nothing to do with money. And so you can talk yourself into fucking anything because you're attached to the outcome that what this space represents is a cohesive family unit that's like the goddamn Brady Bunch, right? So it's like the value of that does not align with what financially makes sense because it's not a financial decision. It's an emotional decision. And like, obviously you've got finite resources, but that's why people get so over the top about it. It's our first house. It's like, hey, yeah, maybe your first of 3 or 5 or 9 or, you know what I mean? Like it's just the emotional connotations that people attach to things completely take away from their ability to look at things objectively.
Yes, I agree with you.
And then what's frustrating is the blending of the pragmatic approach of the finances that are available, but the lack of rational thought that goes along with the emotional.
And
And
that's
then somehow expecting that those fucking things are still going to just net out. Like
And-
they just
and they don't.
oil and water.
Yes. And so the whole point, I think, is that whole the real cost rundown thing is to give people just like kind of that litmus test, because it's amazing how people just make decisions despite the fact that they don't know what the fuck the costs are, when like big numbers too. It's like people are like, oh, I didn't even know there was land transfer taxes. I'm like, that was 50 fucking grand. How did you not know that was there? It's like that's not a little bit of money,
No.
right? It's like, and then your real estate agent, you're paying 60. The land transfer taxes, closing fees, and another $7.50.
The other part of it too is that the people who think that, well, one, there's the misguided approach of like, you get some information from realtors or resources that don't know in terms of that. So they're like, oh yeah, you could easily do this for whatever. Or it's like you've got your wife's, dad, your father-in-law's like, oh, for sure, we can just bang this out and like, a little bit of hard work and X, Y, Z and whatever. It's like no one's taking into account like real material costs of things that now and
Oh,
like
yeah, it was like the
and,
house
and
on
building
Linsmore.
code and
Remember
like
that?
yeah, and
And
it's
and
just
he
like,
was like, my dad can help me, and it was like, oh well. I remember when I shared the budget with him, and I showed him like the renovation cost was gonna be like 800 grand, and he was like, that's ridiculous. I could renovate this house for 300 grand, and I'm like, in the 80s,
yeah, with who,
like,
the Smurfs?
who
Like, who the fuck
fuck's
is-
gonna do that? 300 grand. You can't even buy the material. And that's where I showed them. I'm like, look at the cost of the material, like, well, the drywall, the studs, and all that shit. That's
And this is not like trade. Like this is if you went to Home Depot because
Yeah, if
that's
you
your
want-
resource because you're just one
You're a
fucking
dude.
guy just
Yeah.
doing what you're doing, piecemealing it together weekend after weekend for the next rest of your fucking life. But yeah,
But that's it. But that's the whole thing. It's like, what was that? What I said to you yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever the fucking day that was. You can't reason someone out of something that they weren't reasoned into. It's like a way of knowledge. Like things either by knowing it by proof or knowing it because you believe it. You can't reason with somebody that like the fucking Bible didn't happen
Oh,
or
I
like
know.
or their evolution. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, if you think that everything was started 2,000 years ago, then I guess you're just ignorant to
just
dinosaurs.
because you want it to be some way doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it can be, doesn't mean it will be. That's it. Like that is like what you want and what things are, because that is how they are functionally required to fucking be different things.
Yeah.
Right? Like I would love nothing more than to be like, yes, that's what you want. Poof, done. Like a fucking genie. But like,
See, you're very linked into rationality. Like you have a very hard stop, and like this is where your nurturing basically drops off a cliff. It's like the edge of the abyss. It's
I have
like
two
will-
lovely children, just
I-
for the record. So nurturing is not void in my
yes,
life.
no,
It's just
no, but it's on your terms, I suppose. But it's like oh, shallow, beautiful, like coral reef, and then the black hole of the abyss. It's like,
Mariana's Trench.
yeah, that's it. It's one or the other.
Yeah, because it's like there's a point where you want to help. So there's a point where you want to help, but there's a point where you realize that like you've reached the threshold of what you can help with, and this is the reality. And we're gonna design around it, or we're gonna figure it out, or we're gonna work together towards an objective that is functional. Because at the end of the day, that's what you need. Like we build houses that are there
We
to
give you
heat and
options within the-
cool and house people and
Yes.
bodies and create safety in a
Yes.
fucking northern environment. Like primary factor
Yes.
in design.
I know you're drifting to specificity, and I don't want to do that.
No, but like, you know what I mean? Like the function of the house, the function of the space is one thing in terms of like code and requirements and things like that. The function of the space and the enjoyment of the space on the client side is the other facet of that. And like we always lean into the enjoyment of the space and that as much as possible while hitting these boxes, because you can't ignore the boxes because that's what we're bound to, right?
Yeah, there are fixed parameters of the project that we need to
100%.
enforce.
But there becomes a point for me where it is clear that this isn't going to match up with this. And sometimes that's just a concession that needs to be made because we can't. So yes, I very quickly double out of the emotional camp to being like, okay, we're now functional because this is the reality.
Well,
so
that's
how do
where I
we
step
deal
in.
with it?
That's where I step in, because ultimately, when expectations aren't being met, rather, it's not about being right or wrong, right? Like, I mean, you're really good at disseminating information and making sure it's accurate. Like, that's what you're really, really good at. But as soon as people don't take like facts as truths, then it's like, this is a different conversation. If you're not willing to accept this fact as a truth, then this conversation is no longer about me being right or wrong. This is a conversation about you understanding.
Yeah. And it's like I'm doing my best to educate you on what all the things around it are so that we all understand and that you understand the facts and why the facts are the facts. And like, that's how we got to this point, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
what we're,
It's like someone
know.
saying like, I want coffee. But I'm like, well, this is empty. And you're like, but I want coffee. And I'm like, but it's empty. But I'm thirsty. But it's all gone. It's like,
That may be true.
I can go get you some more, but I'm thirsty now. I can go get you some more. I'll be back in 5 minutes, but I want it now. And you're like, buddy, listen, like I'm willing
I
to
have water here now. No, but I want coffee.
I will, if you don't want to wait, I'm sorry. I will try as best as I can to give you back as quickly as I can with the coffee, but I cannot magically produce coffee.
Yeah, and I would say you're definitely conditioned better to deal with the emotional responses of people.
I try.
You could ask me a question and I will give you all the answers and explain and educate, and that's fine. But like the minute that you get emotional and
Yes.
I see you like losing rational
Yeah,
train
you-
of thought.
You're like, if you're like,
I'm like, well,
the
thank you.
definition of Christina's way of communication is it's a straight line between A and B. It's the fastest way to get between 2 points.
That's it.
Right? As soon as that, like, if say that you're a circle or like, and then like, you're like trying to get through to that, as soon as that doesn't work and it's the fastest way to get you to understand that, you're like, that's just fucking stupid. And you just like, you stop trying. You're like,
Disengage.
I told you that was how it, and then what I do is I try to crack that nut from different angles. So I reword that shit to come in on a different tangent. Hopefully, like I can crack through the fucking, like, whatever the
Yeah. Oh,
atmosphere
you don't like
at
blueberries?
23.
Okay, let's try some bananas.
Let me just mash that blueberry up. Do you like mushed blueberries? Do you like frozen blueberries?
Blueberry frozen yogurt.
What
Here's
if,
the-
what if I fire these blueberries at you at Mach speed? Do you like them now?
That's me.
Yeah.
Oh, blueberries?
Harder
Sure.
and faster is the name of the
My sex
fucking
tape.
game. Jesus. Damn it.
No, and you're right. I struggle with it, and
It's okay. We
I
all struggle with things.
am learning. You know what it is? The other part for me is that I find that I disengage when people take the things that we do for granted.
Yeah. And yeah.
And it's like it's one of those things where I have a hard time going above and beyond in certain circumstances because I know the minute that you don't get, like, what happens is I'm juggling 300 things and I can prioritize
Yeah, but they
one
don't
thing
care.
for one person and it's super great. But the minute they don't get exactly what they want exactly when they want it, they turn on you like a fucking,
Yes.
angry chihuahua. And it's like, you have no consideration for the fact that I rebalanced my life to make those other 14 things happen
because
for you.
People don't fucking care about you.
No,
And
but-
people like, and then they don't. Not that would sounded bad, but like people
No,
don't
but
care
it's
about other people.
true.
It's true though. It's like honestly, like I feel like you got to be altruistic in this business. Like you got to just do it because you want to do nice things, and hopefully karma and like the universe will pay it
And
back.
I do
in
it,
some
but
way.
I've also reached a point where, I think twice and I consider heavily before I reach outside of the zone that will put strain on the rest of the elements within my life. Because it's like, is it worth it to me? Like, are you truly appreciative of what is happening here?
And also because you're responsible for all the resources of the company. So it's like, am I really gonna like divest like from other projects to prioritize this, which
Well-
is not gonna bear any fruit, despite the fact that like I need to now respond, and like this is now something
Exactly,
that's
like,
gonna take more time
sometimes-
than I need, and it may result in people who didn't deserve to be potentially underserviced. Now to be caused to be underserviced because I need to kind of
need to
irrationally deal with this.
Right. Like
Yes.
you've now redirected all of my resources to deal with this one thing because you've made it such a sense of urgency. And it's like the reality is that everything else in those other 14 buckets are losing out because of that. And
all
so
about
I am
opportunity cost.
always weighing, like I am not just this or just this or just this. I'm always weighing the benefit of it on the impact and the implications on every facet of our company as it moves forward. So like, sometimes that unfortunately that means people are not happy. But like I can't make everybody happy all the time, every minute of the fucking day.
Listen.
Or I would work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Listen.
and be disposable to
This
everybody
is
at the same time.
Something I think needs to be said. Happiness is not my responsibility.
No, it is also fucking subjective,
Yes.
as is your
How do I
unhappiness.
say this in a different way? Bad things can happen to you, and you can still genuinely be okay and stable and generally happy. Like bad things happen. Everyone has bad days, and you can still be a happy person. If your happiness is dependent upon my actions, then you have a problem with your gauging of
You
happiness.
problem.
Yes,
That is a you problem.
Like you need to be able to undertake relationships with people that you pay to not make their involvement in your life the
You
thing
don't
that makes
pay
you
me
happy.
to make you happy. You pay me to do my job. And my job is to build your house
Yes.
and to get you through this and to have difficult conversations with you and others as required when things are misaligned in terms of expectations. That's it.
I said this to you like when we were walking into the building the other day, and it's like we are facilitators. I am facilitating the best possible deal at this moment. It's like you ever remember that? Maybe you didn't see this movie, but like in that Star Trek movie, the recent one where he says like he's like trying to like warp between two places, like he's talking about warp speed, and he's like it's like trying to hit a bullet with another bullet while riding a horse. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like what we do. It's like I'm trying to give you the best possible fucking deal with the ever shifting kind of economy, and then trade resources and market value of time, and then like all of those things. Like we're facilitators. I'm going to facilitate it. Your job is to have the money there to get this done once this gets started.
But you're not paying me to manage your emotions.
No,
You're not paying me to manage, like, if what is going on in your life on the backside of things causes you to be reactive or causes you to not look at things objectively in spite of having information given to you in ways that is palatable, that is understandable, like to bring context to all of those things. Like, if you're not behaving well as a client
Would you be good?
because of the other shit that's going on in your life, like, that's not fair.
No,
like-
because imagine if I just turned that shit around to you and I was like, fuck
I
you.
have shit going on in my life
Oh my God.
every fucking day.
Imagine I get to like go there and I'm like, can I talk about my son? Who's like last night, like I got to yell at. I'm gonna hijack the conversation that we're gonna talk about your cabinetry, and I'm gonna be like, listen, I think that my son, and I have, I have ADHD, he has ADHD, and I start fucking running into that shit. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm all concerned about like, am I being a good parent? Am I showing him the lifestyle he should be? Like, fucking immediately heavy, right?
even
it's
if
like I'm
all
not gonna
those-
share that shit. So it's personal life and professional life. I'm here to do this. Would you fucking just like?
Also, the
now
other
I'm
thing
getting
for
amped
me,
up. Now
like the
this is-
thing for me, fucking, is also you pay me to do a job, but you do not pay me to be rude to me. You do not pay me to be disrespectful
it's
or
like
to
that-
be ignorant
it's
or
like
to
that,
minimize the importance of the information. Like, you don't get to behave. Paying somebody to do your house, to build your house, to do construction does not give you carte blanche to behave however you want to them. There is a professional boundary that should be applied, and there is a minimum level of respect that should be maintained. And that is a requirement on the client side just as much as ours. I can't tell you to fuck off when you're being an asshole. You don't get to be an asshole to me because you're having a bad day.
That's with every job. And that's what people don't realize. It's servers at restaurants. It's fucking this business. It's any business. It's like, what was it saying? Where it's like, if you walk around all day and you meet assholes, the thing is, it's probably that you're the asshole.
It's probably that you're the asshole. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
It's like, I think that like, there's so much to it. And this is part of being grown up, and I hate it. It's like where I just don't get to say exactly how I feel to everybody all the time.
imagine if I came out of the gate being like, wow, what you said was really fucking dumb. Are you that stupid? Would you like the opportunity to take it back? Because
You hurt
right now,
You hurt my feelings, and you're not even talking to me. It's like,
Yeah.
because it's like it's hurtful. It's hurtful to people to say hurtful things. I know that sounds very juvenile, but it's like I try very hard because sometimes like I'm not very good at like filtering the things I say very well. And it's like I know that I could see it on other people's faces when I say things in response to what they say, and they're like, I can see that they're hurt. And I'm like, oh shit, I just did something bad. That happens to me. But it's like I'm very cognizant of it. And it's interesting because it happens. You know what happens? I always feel like that with engineers. Fucking engineers. Like Wesley has an amazing way of doing that to me. Like I try really hard, and I love Wes. And Wes is our structural engineer. Honeycomb, he's the best. And like he says things to me, and I'm like, fuck. I really wish I had known that, right? And like it's not that he's demeaning me or making me feel stupid, but it is the effect. It's just interesting how it's like people are sensitive, and I think that like there is some care in this business around just being more sensitive. But I think people in general, when they're undertaking stressful things like building houses, purchasing things like that are like life-changing events, like this, what we do is dealing with people at the point where there's like substantial change.
they're the most stressed. And
So
I
stressed.
get that. And I
So
try and be
stressed.
tolerant of that. But it's one of those things where like, you don't want me to be the mean girl.
No, but
You know what I
are.
mean?
But no,
Like-
but that's
like-
what we do want. That's
Yeah,
it.
but like if you're
no.
gonna push back, like if you're gonna be a dick, like if we were on the scale of you versus me,
Yes, but we're not though. But this adversarial like tone is perfect for your job in doing construction because there is limited time. It is high stakes. It needs to be decided quickly. You need a decision because the option of no decision isn't an action.
You
that
don't
can
have to
take.
like what I'm saying, but I'm
But it's
telling
not.
you.
But the thing is, it's like for your particular role, like of dealing with people in trades and making decisions and building houses because it's all time sensitive. That perspective and that way of viewing things is perfect. That's why you do what you do. That's why I do what I do, where I'm generally handling and talking to people because it's kind of like more like, a feeling. And it's like you have to gauge an emotion and like make that kind of square peg form to fit that square hole. Where yours is like, how many fucking square pegs can I jam through the square hole in this amount of time?
It's like if you came to you and I to ask something, you would be like, if somebody came to you and was like, can I have a cookie? And it was before dinner, I would say no.
Yeah,
And
but-
that would be it. And if somebody came to you and said, can I have a cookie before dinner? You would say, no, well, you know what? It's not the best idea if we were to do that. And you would give them a softer thing, but it would still be a no. But like the fact is
Yeah.
that
You're right. I would be gauging the situation. I'd be like, is it a cookie you want? And start asking questions, and then they would be like, and then they start thinking about it, and then like they would like answer a question that you don't want to answer with a question, right?
whereas I'm like, no, because you know what? I got other things to do and you're still expecting dinner at the same time.
Yes.
So I could spend time talking to you and explaining to you why, but then dinner's going to be late and then you're going to be equally unhappy about something
Yeah, but
different.
they don't. That doesn't make them feel nice, does it?
No, it doesn't. But it's not my job to make you feel nice. It's my job to build your motherfucking house. Fuck, I'm not your mom. I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your wife. I'm not here for a hug or a high five or fucking anything. No pat on the back. Like, sit down, enjoy the ride. You're in
like that-
Germany now.
you're-
We run
I
on
was just
time.
about
We
to
fucking
say-
we're not about emotions.
Nine.
You were in Switzerland and it was great, and now it's pre-construction, and now you've crossed the motherfucking line, and that's
Yeah,
it. You're just
yeah.
an observer
Yeah,
in
it's-
this
it's-
one.
this
Like,
is the-
don't touch. Keep your hands in the cart.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
stay quiet. We'll be there in 5 minutes.
Oh my
You know?
god, that's so fucking
Like-
scary.
Fuck.
It's like that. What's the soup thing from Seinfeld? He's like, no,
The soup Nazi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the soup's great, right? Like he was sold out. That guy.
And every time you're in your fucking living room
Yeah.
entertaining, you're gonna be like, yes, my floors are lovely. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. Look at how, and you're gonna be like, yeah, and you're gonna be happy that I was a prick. In
Yeah.
the moment, you're not happy because you're not being attended like a
It's like, a surgeon.
child.
You
But
know
like,
what it is? It's like a surgeon. Like, surgeons don't have great bedside manner.
yeah,
They're
they're
like-
not paid to.
No,
I
because
just
it's
want
like-
you to make
I
my
rem-
fucking heart work.
Right. It's like I remember I went to a doctor. I don't know what it was for, but like it was like that happened to me, and he was like they said something. I really don't remember what it was, but it was like something where it was like the way they had said it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was very abrupt.
It's very
And-
terse.
And that was a lot of information. Oh, it was with Amory when we were having the baby, and something happened, and they said some shit, and then I was like, whoa, you could have dressed that up a bit, like just the way you said that. Like, I mean, you're not gonna hurt my feelings, but like that scared me, just straight up. But that was heavy shit that you just dropped very fucking passively, just casually, like it's like.
Like we're ordering coffee.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was when he had Vinny had RSV. Like it makes me emotional just thinking about it. Like he had RSV, and like I said, well, what happens if that doesn't work? And then she's like he'll stop breathing, and I'm like,
Oh,
like as in like die? And it's like yes, and I'm like, okay, so this really needs to fucking work then, yeah. like that's basically where I was at, and I'm like, wow, that was fucking straight up. I mean, thank you for being honest, but on the same token, it's like you're letting me know that like after all of these potential things that we can put in as a roadblock until like death, this is the fucking last stop. Okay, so let's just I'm gonna pay attention here.
and it's like,
That was when we were doing the building show. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was a mess.
oh, I remember.
That was horrible.
I remember
man,
the
it-
24 hours of awakeness.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Anyways, 43 minutes. I can't even talk about it anymore, and I'm all nervous. I literally got the chills. Jesus.
But that's it. Like, I don't go into things trying to be an asshole. It's not that. Like, and I try to be lighthearted. I try to be nice, but it's like
and you're not an
at
asshole
some point,
because you don't care.
at some point, you force me to take a tone that is more authoritative because you're refusing to listen.
Well, that's why you just ditch them to me.
Right? Yeah, that's it. Like, if you get an email that says, you know what? I'm gonna book some time with you and Eric to have a conversation.
It means that I've exhausted
It
it.
means like
I don't know how to say it a different way.
I am out of yeah.
Yeah, but the truth is like
People's
that's fair.
skills maximized.
But that's it. I think every industry needs those people. It's like it's funny. I learned how to be that person because my mom. Like my mom was really good with that with me because I was very fucking persistent. Like when someone says no to me, and I'm like, I'm not really good with no's. So I'm like, oh yeah, I know, you know that. But it's like I'm like, but why? But why? But why? But why? But why? And like you fucking keep going, and it's like, and then it's funny. Like I use that, but my kids use but why on me all the time, and I've used the answer. It's the nature of the thing. Like it's the nature of it, honey. I always say that. I don't know why I find that soothing. I just do.
It's the most passive aggressive shit I've ever heard in my life.
It's true. It's like, well, why is it like that? I'm like, it's the nature of the thing. And like it's almost like it's like case or odds. The thing is, what it is, it's generally the answer. It's like, that's my failsafe. I mean, listen, the best way to disarm people who are angry is just be brutally honest with them.
Oh, see, I'm not having that. I'm not having that whole disarming thing happen.
No, it's like, it's like if you made a mistake or whatever it is.
The other part is, though, I have no problem saying I made a mistake. I have no problem
No.
owning and saying, like, yeah, you know what? We made a mistake here. This is something, it's not great, but this is what our options. Like, no problem. It's not like I'm without fault and there's like, I'm not fucking trying to be Jesus over here.
No, but we take accountability for literally everything. I only know
100%.
that because our financials say so.
Yes, 100%. Like, you're not paying for my mistake. That's not what happens here. If it's made, and we own that. But like at the end of the day, you signed on with us. And what I want to say is, like, you signed on with us to undertake a process, recognizing we had your best interests in heart. And if I had your best interest in heart in the planning phase and in pre-construction and this and that, what is it that makes you think that that sentiment would change in construction? Why all of a sudden do you think that I haven't explored every fucking plausible option before we ended up with a result that was not optimal?
Nothing's by accident.
You know, like,
By the time we started building a house, it's like there's nothing here that I didn't think of 15 fucking times.
or try to do over or try to find a way around or to figure out so that like it always least impact as possible.
That's the premise of the entire company is on the whole planning aspect. Like, why would I start spending money on a large scale that's basically a commitment that is an everyday commitment like construction without spending the due process of planning beforehand?
Right.
It's just like that's just illogical. It's irresponsible essentially to just do it any other way, which makes it very easy to sell.
And there's
essentially.
lots of people like that. So I think it's what gets me going too, is that people just assume that like for what, like at what point did you assume that was who we are as a company? Because it's
Right.
not, you
Right.
know, and I think that's part of it that gets me fucking personally fired up, because I'm just like,
Yeah, we're your bulldogs. I mean, we are grumpy people, and we're very good communicators and facilitators, but
You know,
essentially, but we're your people.
I could be a much larger asshole than I am. And
That's
I think
pretty
people
hard to
take
believe.
that for granted sometimes, because like I could be meaner.
Yes,
Like-
but you could be you're perfectly mean for what your job is. Like that's you're supposed to be mean. Like you know, you wouldn't want a fucking soft-spoken
I'm
drill
the
sergeant.
villain.
You know what I mean? Like if you were in the
Is
military.
it me? Am I the drama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are kind of.
Yeah, you can't have a soft-spoken villain. Nobody's like,
Well,
yeah.
you could definitely have a soft-spoken villain.
If you show up
There are,
with
like,
fucking
very
cookies and cupcakes and be like, hi,
That's kinda
no
creepy
one's
too.
taking you seriously.
Mm.
Like,
I mean, but yeah. Anyways, I don't know where the fuck we're going here. 47 minutes. We're capping this shit out. Did you have anything else to say for this rant?
no.
Oh my god, I
that's
just realized that we say sure.
sure.
You're reading the back of the microphone.
Yeah.
I just got that.
That's what I said earlier when I was like, sure. There's 3 boxes holding the iPhone so that we get the perfect jawline angle over here.
That's
It's like,
fucking-
sure.
Isn't it funny how we started this episode? Like, nope, nobody fucking listens. Blah 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 blah. And that's like basically exactly what just happened.
Oh, God.
All right, that's it.
Episode 10.
Episode 10. Out.